All right, let's dive in. Today we're going to talk about a mental tool that's designed to help you cut through all the noise out there. It's a concept called skeletonizing information. And honestly, it's becoming an absolutely crucial skill for thinking clearly in this world. It's just overflowing with data.
So, let me ask you something right off the bat. In a world where pretty much everything comes to you through a screen, how do you really know that what you're looking at is real? It sounds like a simple question, but the answer, well, it's getting a lot trickier every single day.
And here's why. We are now officially living in an age where artificial intelligence can whip up perfect, flawless fakes. We're talking images, videos, audio clips, you name it. All of it generated by AI, and all of it designed to be totally and completely convincing. This isn't some sci-fi movie plot anymore. This is the world we're living in right now.
Which leads us right into our first big topic, the reality problem. We're up against a genuine, serious challenge in telling what's fact from what's fiction, and it all starts with understanding what these new creations really are.
So, there's actually a word for these things, simulacra. And look, these aren't just clever edits or some fancy Photoshop work. No. These are entirely new realities built from scratch out of data, and they're designed to mimic our world so perfectly that our own eyes just can't spot the difference. It's a direct assault on our most basic sense of trust.
But here's the thing, the technology is only half the story. The other half, well, that's happening inside our own minds. Which brings us to section 2, the feels right trap. This is where our own human nature can start to work against us.
We are all wired with something called the feels right bias. You know what I'm talking about. It's that gut instinct, that immediate flash of emotion that tells you something has to be true because it just confirms what you already thought, or maybe because it makes you feel really angry or happy or even vindicated. But, and this is the important part, feeling something isn't the same as knowing it. And this slide just breaks it down perfectly. You've got two different modes of thinking. On one side, there's our default setting, intuitive thinking. It's super fast, it's emotional, and it's always asking, does this feel right? But then there's critical thinking, and it's the total opposite. It's slow, it's deliberate, and it asks a much harder question. Is this actually right?
So, how do we escape this trap? How do we switch from one mode to the other? Well, this brings us to the core idea today, skeletonizing information. This is the mental model, the technique we can use to fight back, not just against AI fakes, but against our own built-in biases.
This quote really just nails it. Critical thinking involves rejecting answers just because they feel right. It's all about forcing yourself to hit the pause button between seeing something and believing it. It's about creating a little bit of space where you can actually take a breath and examine what's in front of you.
Okay, so how do you actually do this? It's really a simple 3-step process. First, you have to isolate the core claim. What is this piece of information really trying to tell me? Step 2, strip away all the emotional packaging. All the loaded language, the dramatic music, the compelling imagery, get rid of it. And finally, step 3, take what's left, the factual bones, and go verify them.
Now, to really see just how powerful it is to separate feeling from fact, I want to show you a fascinating case study. This brings us to section 4, a different mind's eye. Okay, so there's this condition called aphantasia, and what it means is that some people literally can't create pictures in their own head. If you tell them to picture an apple, they know what an apple is, they can describe it to you perfectly, but they don't actually see an image of an apple in their mind's eye.
Now, for a long time, this was just seen as, a blind spot, a missing ability. But in our new world of perfect visual fakes, could it actually be a kind of cognitive superpower?
Think about it. Because people with aphantasia don't get that powerful gut-level visual feeling connected to an idea, they might be much less vulnerable to being manipulated by a fake AI image. They are naturally forced to rely on the factual skeleton of information, not the emotional punch that an image delivers.
So what does all this mean for the rest of us? Well, that leads us right to our final section, thinking beyond feeling. It's really about taking the lessons from this pretty unique cognitive style and figuring out how we can apply them to our own thinking. So here it is, your mental toolkit. The takeaways are simple, but they are so powerful. First, always question your first emotional reaction to something. Second, practice stripping information down to its bare, factual bones. Third, make verification more important than your feeling. And finally, get into the habit of distrusting anything that just feels right until you've got some actual evidence to back it up. And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. In a world where the line between what's real and what's fake is basically dissolving,
Is our reliance on gut feeling, the very thing that makes us so human, actually becoming our greatest vulnerability? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.